You saw the thumbnail. Yes, this game has received no measurable improvements for the performance issues that plague it on PlayStation 5. Before anyone accuses me of hating the game, remember this is a performance review, not a game review. Zenless Zone Zero is already one of my favorite new releases of this year. It just so happens that it runs very, very poorly on PlayStation 5. I wish it ran better, and that is why I keep making these performance reviews for it. Now, normally I start these videos off with a frequently asked questions section, but I have yet to receive any questions that qualify for it in the past 4 videos I've made for Zenless Zone Zero. So with that said, we will jump into the most popular test, the boot and load times of the game. The load times are counted in seconds and 60ths of a second. The tests were done in real time, but I've sped up the clips on display in the video by 2x to make it easier to digest. Thanks to Rude Parakeet for providing the new graphics for this section of the video. I'm going to just briefly touch up on the visuals of Zenless Zone Zero on PS5. The game runs at a native 4K with TAA as its anti-aliasing solution. The graphics settings are not fully maxed out when compared to the PC version, with its reflections being set at what appears to be PC's medium settings. I can confirm the game runs at 4K on PS5 for you with this quick side-by-side comparison. On the far left we have the PS5, a PC at 4K in the middle, and the same PC at 1440p on the right. The PS5 is a clear and exact match for the game at 4K. As for proof of the anti-aliasing TAA, that is clearly spotted in action here in this clip. As you can see, as soon as I stop walking, the aliasing line of pixels is suddenly smoothed out. Once I start walking again, it starts to break apart and alias again. This is a clear sign of TAA, as TAA needs previous frame data to anti-alias properly, and it matches what you'd encounter with TAA enabled on PC. One weird new visual anomaly that I've witnessed, and it being exclusive to PS5 this update, is this. After completing activities in the game on PS5, you will be met with weird trailing artifacty letters and random bits of the character portraits. This does not happen anywhere else, and I will be reporting this to Hoyoverse after I release this video. Now to one of the biggest performance issues for 1.0 that was not fixed in 1.1, Lumina Square. Lumina Square still runs awfully. While Hoyoverse has claimed to have fixed the issue on PC, they never mentioned the PS5, and that is probably because they did not attempt to fix it in time for this patch. This is clearly evidenced by my freshly recorded footage of each time of day, with midnight still being the least problematic time of day. One funny thing about Lumina Square that I found thanks to the new selfie mode is that the game will run so much better if you walk around in selfie mode instead of playing the game normally. So if you want a more consistent and smoother experience, maybe play in selfie mode. Now we move on to the combat performance, the main meat of the game. Now I cannot stress this enough. For a smooth gameplay experience, we want the frame time graph to be flat, not spiky or wobbly. A properly paced 60 FPS game has each frame delivered in 16.6 millisecond intervals. Every time you see this graph get a spike or wobble, it means that the frames are no longer being delivered in a smooth, consistent 16.6 millisecond manner. Unfortunately for Zenless Zone Zero on PS5, a lot of the combat, especially past Chapter 2, is all highly variable, with hugely inconsistent frame pacing and frame rate issues. Even VRR cannot help you, as it only stays engaged if the game stays above 48 FPS on PS5. We know that the game can't even stay above that in Lumina Square without the selfie mode, so VRR cannot be a magic bullet here. Speaking of magic bullets, I highly recommend that you watch Digital Foundry's Alex Battaglia explain how VRR is not the magic bullet cure for games that many people treat it as. I'll put a link to it in the description. I will now let you watch 3 full-size combat clips with the performance graphs enabled. One of them technically counts as 2, as it is Shuya Defense with 2 sides, but I'll let you be the judge of that. 3 or 4 clips, you decide.
Watch out! Time to hunt.
How about this? Yeah! The perfect fight. news. I see. Your weak spot. Get lost. Get back. Good riddance. Sneak it off in.
Yes, master.
3, 2, 1, go! Travis. How annoying. Get flushed! It's gonna hit me! In position.
Stay where you are!
This won't hurt. Just a sec.
Don't even try it! You're surrounded!
Nice try. My turn.
Bullseye. Drop the weapon!
Okay.
Stay where you are!
No point running. Your weak spot. Get back. Sneak it off in. Get lost. Take this.
At your service.
Over here. Shark Nami. Get back. You're weak. Avoid it. Take this. Get back. Don't move. Get lost. Six. Get back.
My apologies.
Sokaku is here. I'm scissors, you're paper. Got it. Get lost. Blow away your trouble. Don't mess up my man. Thank you for your patience.
So as you can see with all the footage displayed in this video, the game is sadly a match for the 1.0 version of the game. All of my hopes of them fixing the main issues of 1.0 have been crushed. I personally can no longer stand the frame time issues since it is making a lot of the new endgame content with dodging focused mechanics far more difficult than it should be. So I will be switching to PC to play the remainder of this patch in my free time. Hopefully we see some actual improvements in 1.2. If you watched through this whole video, I wholeheartedly thank you. This will be my last video on my channel for the foreseeable future. I have ran out of free time and funds to keep this channel going, and I have other more pressing matters to take care of. I know many of you wanted me to cover Natlan and even Wuthering Waves when it launches on PS5, but unless I come into some wealth in less than a week, I have to quit before I go into debt. Thanks for being subscribed and for getting me to 1K subscribers. Farewell, fellow proxies.